And so each one takes a turn, and he also needs a person to interpret before the next one can continue. So it's one at a time, and one does not go after the one just went if there's no interpretation of the previous tongue. Understood? So if one person gets up and there's an interpreter, then okay, that is judged and weighed, and Paul talks about that too as well. But then if the second person gets up and utters a tongue, which we're defining as language that transcends language, so it would sound to the human ears as nonsensical syllables, that's the tongues that I believe Paul's talking about here. He does not refer to these as human languages. We covered that last time. That's a charismatic position I have, no doubt about that. Shout out to White Lily and Jeremy H. I'm glad we...
All praises and glory to Yahweh Ba'Hasham, Yahweh Shai Ba'Hasham Ha-Rakah Kodash. Double honors unto our apostle elders, which rule Great Millstone Wow, and shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure to the end. Shalom wa above all. So this shows you that the wicked shall not understand, just like vocab Malone cannot understand the meaning of tongues. This is why you've heard the apostle elders call the Christians, Looney Tunes or crazy, because they think speaking tongues is speaking a bunch of rubbish that nobody could understand, when the Holy Scriptures clearly explain that the tongues that the apostles were speaking in the time of Pentecost was different languages of the people that were there. It says right here in Acts 2, verse 3, and there appeared unto them cloven tongues like as of fire, and is set upon each of them. And they were all filled with the Holy Spirit and began to speak with other tongues as the Spirit gave them utterance. Right? Which when you go into this word here, the word tongues, it says outline biblical usage. The tongue, a member of the body, an organ of speech, a tongue. The language or dialect used by a particular people, distinct from that of other nations. Well, when you go back, they actually say the Israelites that heard it, and it says in verse 6, now when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded, because that every man heard them speak in his own language. It's not a bunch of just made up language or made up noises that they were speaking. It was actual languages that they didn't go to school to learn. The Holy Spirit put it upon them to speak in those languages, so that the Israelites that were there from all over the known world at that time, that was amongst the Greeks, the Romans, you had the Israelites amongst the Egyptians, amongst the Babylonians, amongst the Medes, amongst the Persians, which it tells you that. Right here it says in verse 8, and now hear we every man in our own tongue, wherein we are born, Parthians and Medes and Elamites, and the dwellers in Mesopotamia and in Judea and Cappadocia, in Pontus and in Asia. So it was all over the known world at that time that where Israelites were scattered all the way back then. And when they were in the holy city, keeping the holy days the Lord put it upon them, the spirit of prophecy, and they spoke in different languages because it was required for all the Israelites that were there from all over the heathens' nations. It says in 1 Corinthians 12, verse 1, now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant. Alright, which we all should know this, that there's different gifts of the Spirit. Verse 4, now there are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit. And then we get down, it says to verse 10, to another the working of miracles, and to another prophecy, to another discerning of spirits, to another diverse kinds of tongues, to another the interpretation of tongues. See, so how could another man interpret the tongue unless it was a known language? But it's the Holy Spirit that puts upon a man to speak that language, all right, without needing to be trained in that language. All things are possible through Yahushua HaMashiach. So with that, I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahushai Bahasham HaMakakodash. Double honors to our apostle elders, which rule well, rule great millstone well, and shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure into the end. Shalom wa above the ball.